This is Ambazonia Calling. News, analysis, commentary, opinion, editorials. Ambazonia Calling is a co-production of Africa Freedom Network, the Missions Tribune, and Compass Free Press. Welcome. My name is Ntumfoyn Herbert, and I bring revolutionary greetings from our studios in Washington, D.C. to all of you, friends of Ambazonia and fellow Ambazonians on Ground Zero and across the globe.
Général Ivo, le voici. C'est lui qu'on appelle. Général Ivo, le voilà couché. Voilà, le voilà. Il est mort.
We have a very sad news. The great General Ivo is dead. This is the AMF Communications Department.
Flags, including virtual flags, are flying at half-staff across Ambazonia as Ambazonians across all 13 states and the diaspora mourn the death of General Ivo Mba. I am Innocent Chia.
In your own words, General Ivo, you said, "I have already given my life for my country. Do not worry about me. Worry about a free Ambazonia for our future generation. Never give up." End of quote.
General Ivo of the ADF is dead. What a sad day for Southern Cameroons.
We live to fight. We will fight until the last one of us is dead. To the soldiers from La République de Cameroon who have been celebrating the death of General Ivo, we say this to you: the more you kill us, the stronger we become. The more you hurt us, the better we become. The more you hunt us, the wiser we shall become.
Good morning again and welcome to Ambazonia Calling. This is a very special edition of Ambazonia Calling. It is dedicated to our fallen heroes, especially the fallen heroes of that camp in Besi outside of Guzang in Momo State, the fallen heroes of the camp in Munyenge in FAKO State, the fallen hero General Ivo, who died in Mabanda outside of Kumba in Meme State, but also all our fallen heroes across all of Ambazonia, all of our volunteer and self-defense restoration forces. So we like to just open up straight away with the many tributes to General Ivo that came through this week.
From LC Awanto, there will never be another, period, a street and a monument in your name come independence. Some of us will ensure that. Even La République du Cameroon dare come near you only in death. Even your enemies will miss you because you were a rare gem.
Smith. Ivo's death is unwarranted and precipitated. He will never be replaced because he was unique. Adieu. Thomas Sankara, Patrice Lumumba, John Garang, Steve Biko, welcome your kind home to the place where Joshua, Caleb, Moses, and David rest.
Departure from South Africa. General Ivo died like a man. He refused to live like a dog. He fought and died for the people of Ambazonia. He fought for peace, and to that end, we salute his bravery. His legacy lives on. Our dreams of a free homeland lives. All for one, one for all. Ambazonia must be free.
From Benedict Kwa, he was a rare breed, a true soldier of Ambazonia.
The general from South Africa. You have been our hero, and you will remain our hero till we reach BOYO to officially mount your monument.
Vince Onkombega, this guy became a mystic, and his death remains a mystic. His blood and that of all fallen martyrs will always refresh and bless our path to freedom.
From Mark Barretta, General Ivo fought a good fight. His passing on to eternity should give us a renewed spirit to know it is not over until it is over.
Secretary of State. He was indeed the greatest soldier Ambazonia ever had.
Victor Ntef. Ivo's gone, and plenty grammar is coming out pretending to be aggrieved with Ivo's sorrowful and untimely exit. Raising Ivo to heaven is not part of what the revolution needs. Without unity, without calling out all these morons in the name of leaders, we will continue to hear of breaking news like this.
From an unknown author. These are the things that define our history and story. Our victimhood before Cameroon is defined by these deaths. They tell us why we must stand up and fight back, realizing the enormous nature of what we are into.
In the beautiful landscape of Batibo, a legend arose. Small in stature, but brave and bold, fearless and ready to make the ultimate sacrifice in exchange for the liberation of his homeland. He fought the colonizers' most dangerous bees head-on. From Daddy to Mbengui through Alabukam, and gave them a bloody nose and a run for their money in Batibo, the land of his birth. He defeated the gendarmes and the bees and moved over to the southern zone of Ambazonia, where he fought deadly battles in Kumba, Matok, Teke, you name it. In the early hours of Friday, December 21st, 2018, the world came to a brief halt. Ambazonia was motionless as the finest, the bravest, and the most charismatic General Ivo took his last breath in the Battle of Teke.
General Ivo of the ADF is dead.
Amber boys, fighters with big, brave hearts. We've lost some of our finest, some of our bravest. How many young men are we going to lose before we realize that we are indeed at war? Young General Ivo talked more sense than many of us so-called book people with big titles, more wisdom than the many aged and supposedly wise ones among us. I particularly remember him saying that if it took killing him in order for that independence to come, he was ready to be killed immediately. And I know that he meant it. He's been killed. Can we now please make sure we get that independence? Can we truly honor our valiant young fighters' memories by burying our hatchets, our egos, our hatreds, blame games, suspicions, conspiracy theories, and just simply working hard to free Ambazonia? Can we do this for young General Ivo, for all the others like him who just wanted an independent homeland? Not power, not fame, money, or position? Can we do this? I truly believe that we can, and we must. This is C. Ajimvo Ambe for Ambazonia Calling.
In your own words, General Ivor, you said, I have already given my life for my country. Do not worry about me. Worry about a free Ambazonia for our future generation. Never give up. End of quote. General Ivor, your bravery inspired thousands and thousands more Ivors will continue the war to liberate Ambazonia. We will win the war, and a statue will be raised in BOYO in your honor.
As Ambazonians and freedom advocates across the globe mourn the death Friday, December 21st of General Ivor Mba, a few things stand out about this ordinary civilian who rose from total obscurity to become the torchbearer and revolutionary engine of the Ambazonian quest for total independence. The skinny, young, diamond in the rough, witty action figure came to the Ambazonian limelight thanks to social media. He grew more confident in subsequent videos, stuttering less, yet charming audiences and the nation with simple, commonsensical solutions to problems that were emerging following Biya's declaration of war against Ambazonia in November of 2017. Whatever one thinks of General Ivor, two things, I submit, must be engraved in the minds of Ambazonians and on the tomb of General Ivor at the National Cemetery in independent Ambazonia. 1. He was fearless. 2. He was God-fearing. General Ivor conquered the fear of La République du Cameroon and dared it to its bluff. Because of General Ivor, Ambazonians across the land understood that they were not helpless in the face of the bully, La République du Cameroon. Many of us talked the talk. General Ivor had little time for talking. He walked his talk. He walked our collective talking and then spent even more time training replicas of himself. He was selfless. Even his death, surrounded reportedly by over 200 bees, tells of a guy who was a nightmare to La République du Cameroon. In most, if not all, of General Ivor's videos and audios, he made incessant references to Christian teachings. Above all, he fearlessly proclaimed that he had been called by God to do what he was doing for Ambazonia. He was sure of it. He did not doubt it and was ready to drink his cup alone, if only for our sons and daughters to call Ambazonia sweet home in the months and years ahead. In living as in dying, he was a free man with a fear of God, no fear of slave masters, and the wisdom, the uncommon wisdom of King Solomon. Thank you, General Ivor, for your courage, for your humility. Adieu, General Ivor.
Innocent Chia there, rounding up tributes with contributions coming also from Vivian Banwi, Barrister C. Ajimvo Ambe, Willibrod Ade, Barrister Manjong Jute Ambe, Divine Anje, just a final word to mention the tribute from Comrade Sakoi Kome. He wrote, I am grieved and heartbroken by the senseless killing of General Ivo of the ADF. He said our nation owes a debt to its fallen heroes that we can never fully repay, but we can honor their sacrifice, and we must honor it in our own lives by holding their memories close to our hearts and heeding the examples they set. The blame game has been, unfortunately, an integral part of the restoration movement for Ambazonia, including blame directly attributed to General Ivo. He is now of blessed memory, but before he died, one of the audio messages that Ivo left us with is one that I want every Ambazonian to listen to. Pick through it, you will find out perhaps what the truth is, but these are the words of a fine brother who has preceded us to the world beyond and who spoke truth to power. You can listen, you can accept, you can deny, you can walk away. But he put it straight. Here's General Ivo.
All commanders, all generals, they need to open their ear very well, then they testify what to me and tell them. All these videos, the one when I make me stand up sometime, I talk with Ojo. I beg someone and look somewhere to keep them. With time, when I go plan, when I see all the prophecies that I give, when I go, they come to pass one after the other. I don't talk all these things and they happen. I don't be satisfied. No be thing for today. If any come for the whole West, for the whole Southern Cameroon, if any commander or any man will stand to call himself general, that. If you know, say, when I be start this fight, some can be there inside Southern Cameroon, me put your hand for orbit of social media. Say if you don't be, I start this fight alone, one man squad. But something they never know. God be choose me for this thing because I be very smart and swift for take all this right for them before La Republic hit one open. You give also why they win match every day, they not win you. Best loser will move you. And that don't happen. So when La Republic win we, it means a move train hard. I want to ask any come way no say interim government don't buy 5 gun or 3 gun or even 2. Because I meet with them every day for water, for play go find stone them. I meet all the every day they go come back empty hand. And see struggle for save them. I come for Southwest, trouble. I talk, Christian will be bring something, I talk for you. I believe that thing last stop. I never ever hear. The man respect himself like a man. Because I know so no man will be perfect or no man always be correct. Sometimes you discover the error make or a place, but if you rewind that error back. Me they look this short while I don't take my rifle. My beginning again my speech, they find me a hole to hole. All the hunger flop in my corner. When I look Moyoka, all of them don't scatter, all of them come out. The short while I know the fight, wait till it happen. Schools that they go them back. School be the go where Ivo be there. Wanna know about Ivo, school be the go. Me South Cameroon open that ear. Me the one that they believe on interim government, they pay them, they kill me. I get like 4 confession and no publish them. When the worst come to the worst, I'll publish them. I see who they don't give money, they kill me. Not be one time. Not be one time, they don't give money, they kill me. And I know so not to do, but one time when I say, the God will get them inside me. I pass that thing down, I remember so when I go to come. Picking the diner killer, now I'm in the attack winner. Ask me, say, where when I did? What will be the ask them, so where then they? Because I not did down the fight. If I leave this Southwest, I tell una promise you war for another 25 years again. And the next thing I know say go happen. Because the next time I go down for go take my rifle and for commando, I know lie, no go easy. I no go leave no soul. If my rifle no car, I don't beg una plenty. I beg for social media, I make apology. I see the me. They say as a good father, they accept some wrong for make the family happy or for create peace. If you good papa, accept wrong sometimes. Because the talk say if village cook chop give chief no go finish him, he go die. But if chief cook chop give village or chop, they no flop. After they no leader. So I want one on a very well to understand. Understand very well. I know expect somebody go there for others. So be very stupid and foolish. For say go give an order, declare war on ADF. He go take Ivo a hit. He go take Ayabacho a hit. Understand? They accept all those things. Why would they live that luxurious life? They change plane to plane, cars to cars. They are women that they live on. Ah, God. I beg, commanders them. Una open una eye. The worst thing for come if you know poor. I tell una last time say, move bend down head pray. Una pray fine as I repeat them. Una forget about it soon as Ayabacho to find a position. Ayabacho is just the master of the army on ground. The master of the army on ground. Not be a president be the problem. Now master for arming on ground. Because the supply not be a play. Not be try go on social media to tell una. But people the same. Ask and so get all the rifle. All of na don't see my video them. When I see the kind of rifle when I see for war, see for picking skin. But also I did today. I the manage and some give the cam half, give the one half, give the one half. Me the whole amount for myself. But now where they don't hold my rifle, they don't catch ADF commander them. They don't make all the picking out. They say all man lie low. Everybody keep quiet. I like the leader way they lead me. When I tell you say no, no, I tell you say me no man no talk. Me they live me they do their worst. They go be exposed. And now they don't start kill themselves. But I need to hear down for social media. This general do one go kill the general, do one go kill the one. I need to hear do one go shoot the one. I need to hear no noise. If not me, I be lock some man for one day. They don't publish on the whole world. Then me I believe say God wait for heaven. He use my son for mark exam. He use dark. I don't still tell una very well. Me any commander general, any man when no one unite for someone fight this war, or when no one come, or when you see the right side, you take on the wrong side. Be very careful. Me be very careful. Watch or don't stand again. I don't woke up. The level don't key to. I don't talk say no. I'm a man. I woke up look my people. Now I woke up so. I don't care if in a bare hand I go use them. I want look my people. They need to be very careful. If they're not dull plenty, interim government, I don't see not what they do for them. They call the name interim government. All them, I believe, say, na CP them party, na CP them militants, they come out for Cameroon run. I'm going to tell you, once a thief, remain a thief. Once a thief, remain a thief. If you be pastors, if you don't thief. If you not thief, do what they go broke house, you go thief offering, you go thief church money. Thief, no, you go thief for another way. Once a thief, remain a thief. Once a dealer, if you know the deal, go use dealing language for make your life. The people go look at the word will come from this street. People they ever dare me man no dare me. I beg una no dare me again. I see one commando. Agree for you say commando I be a picking, but need your picking need a rifle them. If you know they will not declare war on ourselves. As soon as declare them, La Republic declare war on we. We'll take our green plan. At the end, they'll be facing a 1 week they'll crush me. But I discover say they go 3 years. Still yet, no stop in the heat na heat. Now because ADF don't go down, now I don't make army don't the chakra all comes to all end. Army La Republic army day. But they make that they use will like sometimes they do 400 billion when I will because I'm Moyoka don't call all. Why? Because rifle no day. At the suffer we go find rifle. Chakra masking come for supply for help people. Then give money that go find and can bring them. If I not fight, what I do, I believe say better pass that fight. The war they son only gun be the matter. Now advice, unity, love, togetherness, logistic. Not na social media, all that kind of rubbish. Not na the fight war. Not na gun. At the highest na the fight war for unite people. To the key in a unity no day. I don't beg for the unity move together. As a cancer west, I believe I can change so many things. That papa and mommy that fit testify. I make mommy that happy. I make papa that happy. And at the highest I'll give a do. I know if I come on air again, no sooner day where I go. If I come on air, no sooner day where I go to execute my mission. I need to threaten no man. I need to promise no man fight. But I don't promise them fight if 1 week reach and not get my things that they not release all my commander them. Me they listen very well. Of course, why tell me say no man not do well if he change your mind for release so and so person. But wanna take care. Sako, you just stand like man with a small look throne. Me chop chair grow. They take on like you they chop chair. Now you happen to Mukete. Mukete was a slave. Now the very thing will happen. You're a slave. Now you don't be chief. You don't be a senator now. You never want to leave that place. Before you want to kill your SMA, only because you want to chop property. Then the property when I ask you say get up to 10 years again. Now noise that they make an order. Not being alive. If you stay plenty, not say God they punish you, they bless you. The truthful ones that they go, the truthful ones that don't go. I want to tell any camp where they against ADF. Me tie belt issue. Because the fight will start from foot to waist. If it take 1 week, I dissolve any camp where they around my area. If it dissolve all camp for Southwest for 1 week. And I know me very well. I know if it take one of my fellow brothers turn up for beef. I beg any camp. I don't keep quiet for so long time. I can't say if they slap you, slap the man back. Truly, no man no dey inside. I wanna be full. Man no dey inside. I make peace. I don't keep quiet. The whole Southern Cameroon and say my second in command dey down on injury. With all my rifle them, all that rifle them, I take them for the Republic where they be there. Now every on turn against I say where be they? Where them they? Now me I be say where them be they? All those rifle, when I take all those rifle, now because I work hard, but to that don't be a topic of the day as a foolish man. First when they work nothing, so when they talk to me. And I tell Ntumfoyn, the passing message for you. You say I never ever know gun, I never touch gun. Ntumfoyn, if you find my head, I be give 2 weeks, you know my head no cut. Ntumfoyn, I want to tell you, if you clown me before the week one end, I will show you hate them. I will show you hate them. Me all the commander, the general, the way they know so I talk for them. Anybody work with interim government, I beg, as you said, move be like one, as I don't fight move be. If you dare lawsuits, get out from your, you move your one side shoe, wait till you go discover and you are told them all day. Me animal look on me, I want on a serious. Any man say one day me go for social media open motor. Well, I come to go side meet or you. Me any man try inside the week open motor. Well, I come to go side meet or you. I go wipe all thing. Man tell on I be one man sport. Again I picking them. I need to fight one thing when I make up a year tonton. I want tell on a fine. So I be talk for me tengene. LEBIALEM talk. I keep quiet. Picking to talk outside. I keep quiet. Commando for Batman call me picking for a video. Tell big number because they don't be not lie. Well, home from me for it, he go make noise. But if you hold it for your neck, any to a talk, now go shake it. Because if you hold it for it, you talk, he go shake your head, say no. But how you hold it for your neck, any to a talk, you make so. I want to tell you, commando call me picking, I agree I be picking, I never do nothing with this struggle. But the people of Grand Zero know who will be the right person. And not only God you want go give the judgment. But my warn again, say any man way there. Now the last chance, if I yesterday arrest any commander for ADF again, I go prove and say I be general. I don't deny that names are no one general. Because that names and it cost me war. But when I look out to me, any man way there again, I'll move. I don't keep quiet plenty. Commando at the passing message for you. Argue and not argue 1 week for pass all my rifle there. When I tell Ntumfoyn. So I don't give commando 1 week for give my rifle. I don't give 1 week for attack. I give 1 week for give my rifle. If you don't get Ntumfoyn, now 2 things. Either I see my headway commando hold am, or you see commando headway hold am. I be very bitter. And then my rifle, I don't get problem, no man. But if you don't give me, I believe so the whole world don't say I don't be quiet for 2 months, 2 weeks. My rifle there for some money work not 2 times. I don't give chance, let me take the rifle, do something, go help me. If you keep fight the goal, I believe so if you take that rifle, tell we go boy, all man go happy. All man go happy, no be so. So. If you take that rifle, tell we go boy, all man go happy. But you know take rifle and suffer, forget them. ADF don't buy all those launcher, all those things there. Fight for give we. Some who defend ourselves, you know, get a small fight, we move defend ourselves. They say government not win the people, but we will help government will win the people. Now the first country the government will win the people if we not balance ourselves. If we not look all my videos, I don't prophesize all these things and say they go come and fight ourselves. I'm not to talk all these things. Say the people up there not balance ourselves, but they go come and fight. Ntumfoyn they declare war on ADF. That war start next week. I don't add some days then. The war start next week. I know one fight on Pikimi talks I can't be unaware. Me they know say next week the war is start. I thank you na plenty. Me Southern Cameroon see I know very well say me I don't accept that war. When I want see me, people they know say I don't die, I don't run, I don't this. When I want stay for see me na me this. I never ever talk for that bitterly so but I don't tell una today me and my pardon. When I lost all una hope. Say if my rifle they not come out play with day and all the commanders they arrest them for ADF, they not release them. That war don't start. But I go make a moon understand say stone not ever plenty pass water. The water gives stone it dua. I thank you now. I know what no comments, I know what no reply. Me no man no call me. Me no man no get to me. If we not adjust this thing for 1 week, people will die plenty. If we go give open, if we not feel like say we give the file at the public, we find ourselves. And I don't do all things for me, I'll be quiet. I thank you now. Someone I take care and adjust this thing. I not deny say no be interim government, but I don't tell you say you stand for guide na a chair, me picking grow. Sleep go for prison, and see na effort. And they see no nothing. But one day go come out. And when that day go come out, people will see what I don't deter them. I thank you na plenty. And I take care.
Still ahead in this edition, we have the Devil Unmasked with Professor Emmanuel Tatamenta. We have a winner of the Nyamfaka of the Week. And we are not done until you have heard our letter to Joshua. So stay tuned, kick back, relax, and enjoy Ambazonia Calling.
Amber Boys have been pretty effective at disrupting the flow of goods and commerce. The actions of these brave foot soldiers have put mechanisms of colonial exploitations like the CDC on a financial short circuit with red lights all over indicating danger. This is Jude Agua Ozugen.
Today, Southern Cameroonians are stumped and convulsed by the deadly consequences of black-on-black colonization teleguided by the French and condoned by the United Nations. And Southern Cameroonians have no option than to flush out the satanic French Cameroon from exterminating and repopulating their ancestral land with their own citizens. DONGA-MANTUNG for Ambazonia Calling.
If you have done anything against this revolution or you hurt anybody, know that you'll be accountable for after this. Because after this, the doors will settle. And anybody that has played some foul games, you will be judged.
Here now is Innocent Chair with an abridged version of a news wrap-up for the week.
Flags, including virtual flags, are flying at half-staff across Ambazonia as Ambazonians across all 13 states and the diaspora mourn the death of General Ivo Mba.
This is a condolence message from the BOYO warriors. We want to send our deep condolences to the family of General Ivo and also use this opportunity to send our condolences to all the families of the fallen heroes and to the entire Ambazonian community for all the people that have died during this liberation.
General Ivo was ambushed Friday in Kumba in the southern zone. Over 200 of the best trained special genocidal forces of colonial La République du Cameroon reportedly overpowered the general. In one of several videos gone viral on social media, the elite forces are gathered around the lifeless body of the fallen giant in the cabin of a truck, cowardly mocking the dead General Ivo.
Général Ivo est mort, le voici. C'est lui qu'on appelle Général Ivo. Le voilà couché. Voilà, le voilà. Il est mort.
Lui-même en personne.
Général Ivo. Ah, le Général Ivo.
It is not known at this time what the army and government of La République du Cameroon will do with the corpse of General Ivo.
Before we start, we'll give some 1 minute silence for our brother, our sister, our mommy, the roll us off. So we'll keep silence. We'll give them the last honor, that respect. May their soul rest in peace. I know the plans now, like sometimes I don't hear about me no one see me. But the one that happens is hear about me no one see me. You can never do not to find me the way about me. Then I've got to hear say as small. I wish I don't know. I don't get reason why no one see me. I mean this. I believe say when I feel go now, no one see me now. No one see me more.
In the meantime, from Mount FAKO to the summits of BOYO, reactions continue pouring in, testifying of the impact of General Ivo in the history, past, present, and future of Ambazonia.
Ivo was a sign of strength. He was an example of patriotic Ambazonia. He was a true freedom fighter, and he was a uniting force. This murder of General Ivo signifies a certain state and stage in this liberation.
Brigadier General Ewang has been appointed new leader of the ADF on Ground Zero. His appointment came shortly after breaking news of the death of General Ivo. Credible inside sources say an emergency ADF council session mostly confirmed General Ivo's succession plan by appointing General Ewang, a crusader who had the unwavering confidence of General Ivo and a fighter who commands the respect of his peers and has knowledge of the terrain and the task at hand. In a related development, the chairman of the Ambazonian Defense Force, ADF Benedikwa, has called on Ambazonians to exercise patience and understanding as the organization grapples with the loss of General Ivo and this transition phase. His address Saturday via Facebook came amidst condemnation from critics and opponents who have run the gamut on conspiracy theories accusing ADF and AGC hierarchy of plotting to expunge General Ivo. 5 Ambazonians, reportedly Amber Boys of the MEZAM ASC, were gunned down by BIA terrorist forces Monday. Sources say the fighters were supposedly enforcing ghost towns or country Sundays around the New Church neighborhood in Naziri Bamenda when snipers snuffed the life out of them. In a video that had circulated shortly before pictures of the lifeless bodies, the group of young men were seen manning the streets. The Center for Human Rights and Democracy in Africa, CHRDA, has reported a significant upsurge in the number of internally displaced persons, IDPs, in spite of a unilateral ceasefire decreed by its octogenarian genocidal president, Paul Biya. Dr. Agbonkongo's Center for Human Rights estimates that about 275,000 civilians are currently internally displaced in the Northwest Zone, while 280,000 have been displaced in the Southern Zone, representing an uptick of 74% since the last publication on the plight of over 400,000 IDPs. It reports settlements severely affected, indicating that newer conflicts have emerged and newer communities have been targeted by military raids. The report was made public last Thursday, December 20th. Innocentia, Ambazonia Calling.
Restoration train, restoration train is going restoration train, restoration train, selling restoration train on the restoration journey of our liberty. So get on now on the train, everybody. Get on now on the train, mothers, fathers. Get on now on the train, children. Get on now on the train. Sister, brothers, get on now on the train. Husbands, wives too, get on now on the train.
This thing will go on for 50 and 100 years. You cannot kill everybody. And even if you kill everybody, the stones would avenge for the blood that spills on them. The soil will get up and start fighting.
You have plenty of show yet to come, so don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
The people of West Cameroon cannot be your slaves. The people of West Cameroon are not, you did not conquer them in war. The problem we have in West Cameroon is the problem that will bring down Cameroon. When people have had pent-up anger and pain, humiliation, for over 50 years, when it bursts out, you will never be able to control it.
They will sooner realize that the people of Ambazonia will not surrender. They will sooner realize that you can arrest and kill, but the more you arrest and kill, the more you energize the people's spirit.
Welcome to our special interview segment, The Devil Unmasked, The Truth Out. If we stay with the most credible reports issued so far on the conflict in Ambazonia, BIA terrorist forces have committed targeted killings, indiscriminate executions using helicopter gunships, shelling besieged towns and villages, even using chemical weapons. They have plundered and razed to the ground entire villages, over 170 villages so far, in a scorched earth campaign that's generated rivers of refugees, internally displaced persons, and thousands of deaths. The Republic of Cameroon is practicing black-on-black colonization in Ambazonia. And here to join me, here to talk about it now on The Devil Unmasked, is Professor Tata Menta. Welcome, Professor Tata Menta.
I appreciate your welcome to Ntumfoyn, and let us jointly unmask black-on-black colonization of Ambazonia that is impoverishing, exterminating, driving people into distant exile, languishing in dungeons or living in bushes like wild animals.
When we go back in history, who should we blame for what's going on in Ambazonia right now?
In short, we must lay the blame where it belongs to Ntumfoyn. The United Kingdom outmaneuvered the United Nations and dumped the United Nations Trust territory of southern Cameroon bodily into the womb of a French neo-colonial backyard, thus setting the stage for black-on-black colonization.
Could you tell our listeners how this happened?
Ntumfoyn, let us go chronologically and categorically as such. Remember that according to the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1514, Article 15 of December 14, 1960, the United Kingdom, as the administering authority of Southern Cameroon, was legally bound to bring to a speedy and unconditional end colonialism in Southern Cameroon in all its forms and manifestations. Britain instead introduced what became United Nations Security Council Resolution 1541 of December 15, 1960, in violation of Principle 6 of the General Assembly that states, a non-self-governing territory can be said to have reached a full measure of self-government by A. Emergence as a sovereign independent state, B. Free association with an independent state, or C. Integration with an independent state. To let you know, Ntumfoyn, as a reminder, Southern Cameroon in no way was a non-self-governing territory. It had its government that had conducted peaceful, free and fair elections, and power passed peacefully from the hands of Dr. Emmanuel Ndeli's government to that of John Gould Foncha's opposition. It was hailed then as Africa's leader in Westminster-style democratic politics. Instead of ensuring A. emergence as a sovereign independent state for Southern Cameroon, the United Kingdom cooked up the bizarre notion of B. free association with an independent state, in other words, independence by joining.
How did Imperial Britain pull this through?
As a veto power, the United Kingdom spearheaded a UN-supervised illegal plebiscite in Southern Cameroon on February 11, 1961. Southern Cameroonians voted massively for the association of freely with the Independent Republic of Cameroon, and the United Nations set October 1, 1961 as Independence Day for Southern Cameroon, pending a constitutional conference to consolidate the independence by joining.
How would you rate the performance of the United Kingdom?
Ntumfoyn, the United Kingdom failed woefully. She was not at the Fumban Constitutional Conference in August 1961, thus rendering it a mere dining, whining and womanizing party. Worse off, the United Kingdom turned its eyes the other way when on September 30, French Cameroon emptied its barbaric and wantonly molesting and torturing troops into southern Cameroon. More embarrassingly, on October 1, 1961, the British handed southern Cameroon's sovereignty over to a visiting head of state, Amadou Ahidjo, and not to John Gould Foncha, who was then head of government and head of state of southern Cameroon. And I must hasten to conclude here right away to find that Her Majesty's government sold southern Cameroonians as expendable people for charter slavery to French teleguided La République du Cameroun for a pittance of £20 million sterling she invested in the CDC plantations.
Now that is really a serious assertion.
Eloquent evidence support this conclusion, Ntumfoyn. 1. Amadou Ahidjo swore in the United Nations podium never to annex southern Cameroon. He repeated the same statement during his Cameroon Union Party Congress in 1962 at Bolova. But neither Britain nor the United Nations said a word when Ahidjo abrogated Article 47 of the so-called Federal Constitution to introduce a unitary state in 1972 illegally. Consequently, southern Cameroonians became stateless. 2. Neither Britain nor the United Nations said anything in February 1984 when Lucifer Paul Biya seceded from the remnants of the Union and returned to his cherished satanic Republic of Cameroon at independence. 3. Neither Britain, the United Nations, even the United States of America said a word when Lucifer Paul Biya fooled the world that he was fighting against terrorists and unleashed a genocidal war against southern Cameroonians on November 13, 2017 This explains succinctly why murderous Hitler Biya obtains arms, training of savage troops, sexual terrorists, arsonists, extortionists, looters, annexationists, and so on from the West, in exchange for southern Cameroon's natural resources.
What can the United Kingdom do to fix the mess they created?
For the United Kingdom should neither try to slink around the aborted decolonization of southern Cameroons, watch in idle curiosity, nor collude with the Biya genocidal regime. Let the United Kingdom not pretend to be sympathizing with southern Cameroonians facing extinction, yet doing business as usual with an incurably criminal gangster regime of Hitler Paul Biya.
You and I live in this country. What should the United States do?
It is time for the United States of America to play its role as leader of the free world and guarantor of world peace since the end of the Second World War by stopping the genocide ongoing in southern Cameroons.
What about the United Nations? What should they do?
The United Nations should come in peacefully and forcefully to fulfill its mission of ensuring peace in southern Cameroons. Any conspiratorial silence in the face of genocide, as she did in Rwanda in 1994, is shameful and reduces the organization to United nonsense rather than the United Nations or we the people of the United Nations. 1. There must be a UN peace presence on the ground to flush out the occupation forces and administrative outfit of the Satanic Republic of Cameroon from southern Cameroons. 2. The United Nations peacekeeping force should disarm southern Cameroonian self-defense or restorationist forces peacefully. 3. The safe and peaceful atmosphere must be created for southern Cameroonians in exile to return home and those living in bushes or internally displaced to regain their homeland. 4. All southern Cameroonians in dungeons, including their leaders who were illegally abducted from Nigeria, must be freed immediately. 5. The Ambazonian diaspora should have free and safe passage back home, not through airports of the Satanic Republic of Cameroon, but through their own airports. Finally, after all this is done, Ntumfoyn, the United Nations can then consult southern Cameroonians about their destiny. Failed pious hopes and grand designs of living together with the Satanic Republic of Cameroon is disaster magnified by postponement.
And what is the message this week for Ambazonians?
Ntumfoyn, they should keep their flame of liberation burning. They should have faith in nobody but themselves.
And that was Black on Black Colonization in Ambazonia by Professor Emmanuel Tatamenda. I don't have to tell you it was a lecture, but thank you very much, Professor, and have a wonderful week.
Thank you for having me, Ntumfoyn. A luta continua, Victoria er certa.
We must go and use every forum that we have to remind the world that the people of Ambazonia are being massacred and slaughtered on a daily basis, and the time has come for the world to rise, and that the world must now begin to speak about the question of Ambazonia and their right to self-determination.
There are two Cameroons that came together. If you are telling us that what happened in Cameroon is like dropping a few cubes of sugar into a basin of water, who is the sugar and who is the water?
Doubting Thomases who think that this is a battle which will be concluded through military action will discover to their shock and chagrin at once that it will not happen.
This is Ambazonia Calling.
The American Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs, Thibault Nagy Jr., has just issued a statement in which he highlights the importance of the Cameroons in the counter-terrorism partnership with the United States. But he also points to the fact that the ongoing war in Ambazonia is one that could have been avoided and one that needs an immediate solution.
There's tremendous interest within all branches of the U.S. government towards this crisis. The United States is greatly concerned with what's going on in Cameroon. I mean, we consider Cameroon a long-term friend. We consider it essential for the stability in that region of Africa. As we all know, Cameroon has tremendous potential. It has phenomenal natural resources, has a highly educated, industrious, entrepreneur population, it could easily rocket forward in progress and prosperity and stability. So because of that, the United States is greatly concerned with events there. And the frustrating thing is a lot of this was needless. As I said, we all know the history, we all know where this is coming from, and the Anglophone population of Cameroon would very much like to be considered as first-class citizens, and there is a sense that they feel like, and they have felt a long time, like they're second-class citizens. It is up to dialogue and true dialogue to move this process forward.
Ambazonia Calling. You are in the heart of the news shrine. Call us the Kalakuta Republic of Commentary, Opinion, and Editorials. Staying with the subject that we just discussed a moment ago, what America is doing in Africa that may be of particular interest to Ambazonia. This week, Wednesday, the United States of America announced a major reshuffle in its policy towards Africa. That policy will now move human rights and the advancement of democracy to third priority, moving trade and security to priority number one, and countering Russian and Chinese influence on the continent as part of that number one priority. Here to take a look at what exactly is changing in the policy towards Africa is the monk Vezekov himself.
America will henceforth prioritize trade and security over human rights. According to U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton, the policy will ensure that Washington no longer provides indiscriminate assistance across the continent. Bolton said, the new policy will not tolerate the long-standing pattern of aid without effect, assistance without accountability, and relief without reform. Joseph Slavic, a policy analyst based in Washington, summarized the policy as follows.
So I think you're going to see much more engagement by the Trump administration. It'll be focused on security, trade, and investment versus previous administrations that put human rights first and foremost. I think human rights will be important, but I think trade and security will be the benchmark moving forward.
The Trump administration says the policy will focus on combating the predatory practices of China and Russia in Africa, fighting terrorism, and cutting what Washington calls wasteful spending for United Nations peacekeepers on the continent. Bolton criticized China notably for its state-directed Belt and Road Initiative, which aims to strengthen infrastructure, trade, and investment links between China and 65 countries around the world, most of them in Africa. These 65 countries collectively account for over 30% of global GDP, 62% of population, and 75% of known energy reserves. Washington is aiming to rely on public-private partnerships to improve its competitiveness in Africa compared to China and Russia, as Joseph Slavic explains.
If the U.S. is able to work in a public-private partnership with U.S. companies, the U.S. can compete very easily against China in Africa. However, the United States government unilaterally itself cannot engage as the Chinese do. The Chinese have a much different setup in terms of the way their economy and government works. But if the U.S. does collaborate with the private sector and brings financing mechanisms, I think the U.S. can offer a very attractive package in terms of investment. However, I will say at the moment, the Chinese do have the edge at the moment.
The U.S. is angry about China overburdening African countries with debt. Zambia is the most cited example, with a debt to China alone estimated at between $6 to $10 billion. Joseph Slavic is a Washington-based policy analyst who says the Trump administration is worried the burden of Chinese debt on Africa will become unbearable, imposing a new round of debt relief.
And I think the U.S. is somewhat concerned that they see that the Chinese are loaning money to Africa indiscriminately. However, there's talk now in Washington possibly about debt reduction. As you know, 20 years ago, Africa had a substantial debt burden, and most of the Western countries are renegotiating some of that debt.
As part of the new policy, the U.S. has already requested a change of mission for the UN mission to the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic. Washington has refused funding to the UN mission in the Central African Republic, and it has threatened to reduce funding for the renewal of the UN peacekeeping mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Shifting human rights from first to third priority and pulling support to UN missions will have grave consequences on countries like Ambazonia, seeking respect for its inalienable right to self-determination, to independence, and calling on the world to evoke the responsibility to protect by deploying UN peacekeepers. This is the Monk for Ambazonia Calling.
This is Ambazonia. One nation, one soul, one people. Sacrificing, bleeding, and yes, dying if need be, until we kick the colonialists out and enthrone a government of the people in BOYO. The economic sabotage and economic isolation and embargoes and ghost towns that have been launched by Ambazonians to chase the colonialists out of Ambazonia are working. These campaigns are working. One glaring example is the Cameroon Development Corporation, the CDC, which is the biggest agro-business in Ambazonia that's under exploitation and abuse at this moment by the colonialists from Yaoundé. The general manager of the CDC spoke to Equinox TV and he laid bare the facts. The company is on its knees. It has not paid salaries for 7 months. It is running into bankruptcy. To use the words of the general manager, the company is dying. Here is Tanya Jude Agua Ozugen.
There is no need to provide commentary when we have the lamentations of the CDC general manager speaking this week exclusively to Equinox Television. We will roll a number of excerpts beginning with this first one where he admits only 5 of 14 CDC units are still open.
Out of 14 units, 11 plus 3 is 14, and 3 rubber factories, only 5 are operational.
He breaks it down with details on 2 out of 7 palm oil estates still open.
We have 7 oil palm estates. Out of 7, only Debuncha and Bota are working, and working partially, not fully. Out of palm oil mills, we have 3. Only 1 is working, Idinao. Mondoni is shut down, Ilwani is shut down.
Amber Boys have completely shut down the banana sector.
If we come to the banana sector, the one which is most severely hit, out of 5 estates, none is working.
The shutdown in CDC plantations and factories accelerated between May and July, forcing a majority of CDC workers, as many as 12,500 to be laid off, leaving only 7,500 on the job.
Between May and July, we have a situation where, at least to be conservative, at least 12,500 of our workers are directly unable to do the work for which they are supposed to earn their pay. If we look at it critically, we will realize that even the 7,500, the balance 7,500, are working below capacity.
Here's the CDC general manager playing crybaby on Equinox Television. He has the numbers to back up the argument he is making that Amber Boys and Ambazonia's campaign for restoration of independence is having the desired impact on economic and financial sabotage of the colonizers' exploitation of our homeland.
We have a situation where in the palm oil sector, for example, by this time, if we were operating normally, we were supposed to have produced about 22,000 tons of palm oil. We have produced barely 11. If we take the rubber sector, we were supposed to have produced more than about 16,600 tons of rubber. We have produced barely 9. If we take the banana sector, by this time we are supposed to have produced about 105,000 tons of banana produced and exported. But by August, when the last shipment for banana took place, we are barely at 35,000 tons.
How much is it exactly in monetary terms has the CDC lost in revenue? The general manager gave an amount that is dizzying.
The reflection of all the shortfall in our 3 main crop groups is that we have a shortfall in revenue of about 35 billion francs.
As a result, the CDC has workers on strike demanding payment of 7 months of unpaid salaries. In other words, the colonizers are truly running slave plantations. I will spare the rest of the bad news coming out of the CDC. I won't play excerpts outlining how the company barely treats drinking water, cannot hold schools, clinics, and hospitals open. Bottom line, the CDC general manager is very clear where the entire corporation is headed now that Amber Boys have the colonial enterprise by the balls.
The reality in our type of activity is that in agriculture, if we are not present in the plantation, we are dying.
I hope you all heard what I just heard.
We are dying.
The jewel in agro-colonial crown of Cameroon in Ambazonia is not even on life support. It is on its dying bed. Just a little more effort by Amber Boys, and we should have its obituary out soon. This is Jude Agua Ozugen from Ambazonia Calling.
We don't do foolish, but when there are capital fools out there, we make it our duty to find them, and every week we crown one of them the Nyamfuka of the Week. It has been a horrible week for Ambazonians, with most people downcast from just the sheer amount of bad news. The massacre in Guzang, the massacre in Munyenge, the execution of General Ivo. On such a week as this, you wonder whether you should have the Nyamfuka of the Week, given how downcast people are. But we do have one, and here's Veronique Ntumfoyn with the kings and queens of foolish for this week.
Finishing in 3rd place this week is the official spokesperson of one of Ambazonia's liberation movements. Even as Ambazonians grieved over the mass slaughter of freedom fighters in Gusang last week, he made light of the massacre, hatching and telling some tall tales about the perpetrators being who they were not. Tapang Ivo Tanku took his silly jokes one step beyond crazy by promising that the ADF, Ambazonia Defense Force, was planning another even more bloody massacre in Bello, BOYO State, unless, as he threatened, General Ake was released. As much as it would make sense to have General Ake released, Tapang Ivo Tanku called Ambazonians goats, while not reminding himself of being a sheep among goats. For that level of insensitivity and inflammatory language, Tapang Ivo Tanku is this week's 3rd place finisher for the crown of shame, the Nyamfuka of the Week.
Nyamfuka them all.
Finishing in the position of runners-up this week is the battalion of shit-no-wipe lads, B terrorist officers, who showed up in numbers between 100 and 200 in the small town of Mambada, where they tracked down and shot General Ivo. On video, the French-speaking elite killer squad that is charged with enforcing the colonizers' linguistic cleansing campaign in Ambazonia glowed over the bullet-riddled body of one of Ambazonia's finest and bravest. They brandished the mortal remains as if they were a trophy. Not ashamed that it takes 200 B terrorists to hunt down and execute one Ambazonian general. Sadly, B terrorists did not gloat alone. Some Ambazonians, having differences with General Ivo and the ADF and its commander-in-chief, also gloated for not appreciating to its right value the sacrifice of a true Ambazonian patriot. For not appreciating to its right value the sacrifice of a true Ambazonian patriot, the B terrorists and all those who gloated over the death of Ambazonia heroes in Batibo or General Ivo's death are this week's runners-up for the crown of shame, the Nyamfuka of the week.
Nyamfuka them all.
Winning the crown this week is the leadership of the ADF and the AGC, as well as the ADF soldiers who perpetrated the massacre in Gusang last week. Benedict Kwa, chairman of the ADF, went silent on the massacre in Gusang. Dr. Lucas Cho Ayaba, one of those who can communicate well, behaved this week like someone who swallowed his tongue and his pen ran out of ink. The two kept the people of Ambazonia in the dark, not uttering a word for an entire week on the Gusang massacre. Yet, wasting no time, coming up with a statement as soon as news broke that General Ivo was shot dead. For failing to act any faster than those he criticized so harshly, and justifiably so, for not informing Ambazonians after Seseko Ayoktabi and his aides were abducted at Naira Hotel. Dr. Cho Ayaba, AGC chair and ADF commander-in-chief, along with ADF chairman Benedict Kwa and all the ADF soldiers who perpetrated the Gusang massacre or have maintained silence since it occurred, are this week's unenviable winners of the crown of shame, the Nyamfuka of the week.
Nyamfuka them all.
This is Veronique Vetimfe for Ambazonia Calling.
On the weekend of the execution of General Ivo, we shall ask a few questions here about the health of the People's Revolution. Do we even have a People's Revolution? What does it take to have a People's Revolution? Let's begin with Barrister C. Ajimvambe.
What is a People's Revolution? The name tag speaks for itself. A revolution in which the popular masses rise up to participate in the shaping of history. One in which they act collectively and decisively to make their voices heard and effect change. One that is carried out by the broad strata of the people, in contrast to one that is left in the hands of a select few. History has witnessed several successful people's revolutions whereby the people relentlessly and collectively engaged in activities such as demonstrations, marches, plaza occupations, petitioning and lobbying of international entities, influential world leaders, legislatures of influential countries. Looking at this laundry list of activities and the relentless efforts of the people, can one really continue to affirm with a straight face that Ambazonians are engaged in a people's revolution? Particularly Ambazonians outside the homeland, in the diaspora? By all indication, Ambazonians in the diaspora seem to be in a mad haste to hand over the revolution to a handful of regrettably hand-picked or self-proclaimed individuals or groups, turning the revolution from that of the masses to that of an elite core with no oversight, no checks and balances, no accountability. A very reckless thing to do. How else can one explain the fact that participation of diaspora Ambazonians in rallies, protest marches, conferences, fundraisers, meetings with international stakeholders, the sending of petitions to international stakeholders, tweeting on topics of great import to the Ambazonia revolution, has dwindled down to pitiful, embarrassing numbers? What does this say about the interest and commitment level of Ambazonians? What does this say about the potential outcome of the Ambazonia revolution? At a time when Ambazonians in the homeland are handicapped in all sorts of ways and languishing in the throes of an unjust war, waged on them by a brutal, ruthless colonizer, one in which they are outnumbered and outarmed, one for which they are ill-prepared, the least that Ambazonians in the diaspora can do, while ensuring that these valiant comrades in the homeland have what they need to defend themselves and regain our invaded territory, is to turn the Ambazonia revolution back to what it started off as, a people's revolution. A revolution which prided itself in grassroots participation of all Ambazonians, one which recognized and embarked on a non-violent path to freedom, founded on the bedrock of diplomacy, justice, and law. A path which emphasized the creation of greater international awareness of our plight, involvement of stakeholders, attainment of allies, all culminating in the acceptance of Ambazonia as a free and sovereign nation. The Ambazonia liberation ship may have sailed into troubled waters. However, the light from the lighthouse still shines bright and beckons it. This ship can still make its way to BOYO if the Ambazonia people take back their revolution. Go back to massive protests, rallies, and demonstrations. Go back to the halls of the US Congress and European parliaments. Go back to local lawmakers and key opinion makers. Go back to churches and to the ordinary people of the communities in which we live, and continue telling Ambazonia's gruesome tale of annexation, recolonization, and genocide. Go back to the revolution of the people, by the people, and for the people. This is C. Ajimbo Ambi for Ambazonia Calling.
This is Ambazonia. One nation, one soul, one people. Sacrificing, bleeding, and yes, dying if need be, until we kick the colonialists out and enthrone a government of the people in BOYO. One Ambazonian family indeed, one nation, one people, one love. But are we indeed that kind of family? Have the events of the last few weeks suggest in any way that we are that kind of family? I asked Jojo to answer this question for us from England.
I thought we were a family with a common enemy, but no, I was mistaken. Different people have different motives. There will be judgment time for all those who have supported the division, corruption, slaying, power mongering, and power consolidation that have brought us to this perilous position, either directly or indirectly. Note that almost 15 years after the Luanda genocide, those who facilitated it one way or the other are still being judged, either in the diaspora or in Luanda. Some in the diaspora are sent back to Luanda to be prosecuted, although they had adopted foreign nationalities. Don't be deceived, you will not be an exception. From the IG to the ADF and everything in between, surrogates and the rest, fighting aggressively to defend the antiques of their groups and demigods. I have well-documented evidence. Trust me, I'll freely testify against you all. Justice must prevail. I have been calling for an all-inclusive conference to address these and other issues in vain. God and Satan are quietly watching. Believe me, we will be the first people in the history of mankind to lose a war against a dictator, because we rejected a dictator on the right just to turn around and create a worse set of hunger-striking, jobless dictators on the left with a bunch of blind and intolerant following. If we don't change, we are doomed. What a shame. Jojo from England for Ambazonia Calling.
The Ambazonian revolution has made some remarkable gains, but those gains are in peril so long as there's the infighting, so long as people continue to eat each other up. And that's the kind of infighting and controversy that led to weapons being seized, to fighting around those weapons, to the massacres in Guzang. There's no justification for any of this, but this is the kind of things that happen. And then you hear groups that swear to go out and get revenge. Happily this weekend on Eric Tato's platform, General Nambere, one of those who had indicated he was going out to draw some blood, reassured everyone. Here's General Nambere.
Mommy and Papa, them, and the people that someone are not discouraged. When I be very aware that La Republic don't face our brother them, may they spoil the revolution because it already come to an end. We be sure and it shows very loud and clear for all we say. La Republic don't pay some of we, but they will spoil the revolution. Now, what are the two ways to be doing? Just to say, the revolution spoil. But I tell you something. No amount for money, no day. When La Republic will give some money, change the revolution. We are vision about rich boy. And I believe and to encourage all mommy and papa to not be discouraged. We could still fight. More than how we fight yesterday. One and no calculated on a picking, they don't lose. Me, I do not begin to take me there, begin. I don't want to say when I say, now only when I pray and be strengthened we. When I not forget, when I say, our enemy, they work for all, they follow all tactics, will see how they put we down. Now they know the attack and general there. We don't get some messages, the way they talk, so they need my head, they need commando head, they need free marshal head. Well, no problem. But because so long as I stand for the truth, only the truth shall set me free.
This is Ambazonia Calling.
Because you have your army of occupation out in West Cameroon, you believe that when the people will rise, even if you took the whole of the French army and added to yours, you will never bring them down.
And I call on all Cameroon soldiers to lay down their arms within Ambazonia and to turn their arms against the very system that has made them slaves in the land of their birth.
No Ambazonian would argue the fact that this revolution is in danger from lack of accountability and transparency. Happily, there are more Ambazonians willing to stand up and to speak out, to denounce those who have swindled resources and to explain how that happened. Here is Bell of the Sword of Ambazonia speaking this week on Eric Tato's platform regarding resources that were coming from my trip to BOYO meant for self-defense groups that never made it.
And according to the government ways of appointment and putting places, they gave Yimfu and Sofoncha for them to take care of Meme, FAKO, NDIAN. So they were in charge, and I stayed for close to 4 to 5 months without keeping in touch with these farmers. Then when I came in May, I called these farmers and I asked them, I hope you people have been receiving what you need for daily uses, for like maybe resources, groundnut, peanut. They told me with much confidence that they have never received 1 franc. I mean, 1 kobo. I said, what? We have been paying money for my trip to BOYO, and how come you people have not received 1 kobo? What is happening? Okay, then I went and I met John Egawan. John Egawan told me that they have been giving money to Yimfu, to Sofoncha and Yimfu. They were the one in charge. I said, are you sure? By then, I didn't have Yimfu and Sofoncha. I said, give me Yimfu's number. I want to talk to him. They didn't give me the number. Then all of a sudden, Yimfu was the one who reached out to me. He told me that he has given the money. I said, who did you give the money to? I want to find out. Finally, he confessed to me that he didn't give them money. And a few days ago, when I went into that meeting, I saw him. I attacked him that, why did you are saying here that diaspora are the one who have chased you guys into taking ransom. But you are part of those diaspora because they gave you money, you refused to give them the money. He said in that meeting that he gave money to General Nambere. I said, are you sure? I'm going to put Nambere now on court for you to ask. Then when I brought General Nambere for that investigation, General Nambere made it clear that he gave him just 25,000 francs. So out of the 9 million, because I'm coming. I interrogated Yimfu. He sent to me the receipt of transaction that the government gave him money, which it was like about $17,000. So out of $17,000, you will give 25,000 to General Nambere. 25,000.
One of the big challenges that this revolution continues to face is all these accusations of extortion, of abuse, of torture, of crimes being committed on ground zero. Here once more is Bell from the south of Ambazonia explaining the kind of disciplinary action that they are taking to make sure that self-defense groups do not violate human rights and do not engage in war crimes.
We had a phone call from one person in the Popo who said that Daniel are dirty. Daniel has some issues. So I ordered Divine to immediately arrest Daniel and put under detention. As I was speaking like this, Daniel is still under detention. I've received series of calls that Daniel is telling me that he should go. I said, no, your hands are dirty. We have got information that you've taken money from people almost close to 100 million. So we must get to the root of this issue. Until we get to the root of this issue, then you go a free man. If not, you will stay there. The international court will come and judge you people for anything that you have done, and even Divine. And I told Divine that if you have done anything against this revolution or you've hurt anybody, know that you'll be accountable for after this. Because after this, the doors will settle, and anybody that have played some foul games, you will be judged.
This is Ambazonia. One nation, one soul, one people. Sacrificing, bleeding, and yes, dying if need be, until we kick the colonialists out and enthrone a government of the people in BOYO. Building that one Ambazonia under one love, where the principle of all for one and one for all, where the work is possible, despite all the problems. And this week, activist Eugene Ufoka told us exactly how he wanted to go about it, and he's preaching a new gospel. Listen to him here in this excerpt.
Ambazonians, we have to unite. We must unite. It's the only way out. Now, before I was believing, I was having that opinion, that thinking that perhaps a very good, committed, structured group can take Ambazonians to BOYO. But let me be very clear, and you can quote me any day, anytime. We will not get to BOYO by any particular individual group. If we don't unite, we shall never get to BOYO. Listen, let me be very clear. If the IG think that they can take us to BOYO by themselves, they are lying. If the AGC think that they can get to BOYO before anyone, they are really lying. If the RUAM they think that they are going to BOYO before anyone, they are lying. Listen, if we are not united, we will not get to BOYO. I will make this very clear, and I'm saying this with ultimate frustration, particularly to our leaders. They are the ones to blame if this struggle doesn't go in the right direction. They are the ones to blame. Because they are those groups who are thinking that they will get to BOYO first and settle the scores. No, you will not get to BOYO at all. You will not. I can bet with this, with everything I know in diplomats and politics, you will not get to BOYO. If the IGs they can get to BOYO by themselves, they are lying. Even the Kadinatumis group in Cameroon cannot get us to BOYO. They cannot. Nobody can do. We must go to BOYO together. So if you belong to any group, I will call on you today to denounce your existence in that group. We need to dissolve all the groups until people come together to be as one, Ambazonians. We will not get to BOYO with groups. It will not happen. We should quit this identity politics and come together as one, because that is a key to our success.
For more stories from around the world, go to the World Wide Web at themissionstribune.com, compassfreepress.com, and africafreedomnetwork.com.
Here is our letter to Joshua.
Dear Joshua, I had been told You were shamed out of cannibalism. But I hear you did not quit. What a shame. Is that why you asked the B terrorists who executed General Ivo to bring his mortal remains back to you in Gola? I mean, why am I not surprised? It looks like you graduated from not just demanding the blood of victims, as you did with the blood of Reverend Fathers Ntumfoyn and Father Ntumfoyn. You are no longer just satisfied with the human hunters returning you sexual organs from your victims, as you did with the Bishop of Bafia. You are no longer satisfied with killing in-house, like you did with those Reverend Sisters in Jom, and we hear with Oga Madam herself. The beast in you is crying out for blood, not only of people executed as you did with those Wajos in Balmayo in 1984, and the Amba youth that you killed in Bali the other day. You do not just want Amba boys slaughtered alive, as you did with Sam Sawyer in Bello. The beast in you is requesting more human blood of all kinds. The blood of a mentally handicapped Ambazonian that you claimed this week, whose life you cut short on that road in Fujua, in Fundong. You have requested human flesh, not only raw, but your fangs have asked to taste of Amba humans sent to their dead with the use of chemical products, as you did in Bali, then roasted in the fire of earthly Satan that you are. You have insisted on Amba human flesh from young Ambazonian virgins buried alive, and the elderly like Mami Api burned alive. What else is left on your menu? Oh, I was forgetting. You are still waiting for the mortal remains of General Ivo to be served at one of those feasts in the dead of night, where you and your ilk reportedly indulge in sex with mortal remains of virgins and perform acts of homosexuality and bestiality described so well by Ebale Ngunu, that young man that you once described as mon jeune ami in that letter of accreditation which you handed out to this angel of death. Am I recalling too much? Is the blood of the dead beginning to rush in your veins? Are those Dracula teeth of yours just beginning to itch at the altar of the tin god of flesh? Are you wondering where they are exactly with your next human meal? The people of Ambazonia have just 2 words to dismiss you. Useless man. They told me to remind you. You go kiwi tire. Ambazonia is only warming up for the resistance. Joshua, the prophet of Ambazonia, Honorable Wilbur, forewarned you. When the people will rise, that's what he told you. But you wondered, how can 2 cubes of sugar survive in your basin of sacrificial blood water? Now you know. You should have learned from those Palestinians who thought Israel was 2 cubes of sugar. You should have read the Bible during the brief time when the devil sent you as an undercover agent to a minor seminary. What is a bowl of water when the God of justice can break up the waters of the Red Sea and build a boulevard granting safe passage for the good, but also a Wata graveyard for the army of the Pharaoh of the Republic of Bread and Sardine? If you think your B terrorists will defeat Ambazonia, please hear from me. Una never born. Ambazonia is a spirit, Joshua. When it possesses the fine and brave young men and women of Ambaland, then you see people like General Biabie, General Akuma, General Ivo, General Nyambere, General Amigo, General Arke, and the likes of the Field Marshal. You may destroy the body, as you did with the body of General Ivo this week, but there is nothing you can do with the Amba spirit. The Amba spirit lives on, Joshua. You can't stop it. By the way, did you notice the difference between the Ambazonian generals and generals from the terrorist forces of the Kingdom of Sardine and Janga? I mean, let me help you out here with one small comparison. Do you remember when your General Ivo and you ran into and locked yourselves up in the bunker of the presidential palace there in Gola on a certain April 6th, and you were crying like babies? You were poo-pooing and weeing on yourselves because you were not man enough to go out there and face the music of the guns. I mean, check out the difference with Ambazonia's General Ivo, who died as he lived, fighting to his very last breath, giving to his last drop of blood, bearing our homeland with his blood. like other Amba heroes, you and your predecessor, Mamadou Mahijo, and France slaughtered the over 1 million people that French archives released this week showed that you killed, along with heroes like Joa and Fonlon that you killed quietly in the hope that Ambazonia will be buried forever. You lie, Joshua. Thank you for making sure through your executions of people like General Ivo that his memory will never die. Thank you for inspiring 1 million other soldiers to rise from the ranks of Ambazonia's eternal army of restoration. Bring it on, Joshua, you bloodthirsty monster. You have been listening to Ambazonia Calling. We came to you from our studios here in Washington, D.C. Our producers today, Jeff McCoy, Logistics, Joe Costa, and Krista Cunningham. Our music is from Ken Wanaku, the monk, from Balikumato Vazekov himself, from William Ford, an Amba music star of blessed memory, from Eric Matisse on the web at soundimage.org, and from Prince Ajua Alem of Ajam, Sonicatron, USA. Ambazonia Calling is a joint production of Africa Freedom Network, the Missions Tribune, and Compass Free Press. You can find us on the web at missionstribune.com, at compassfreepress.com, and at africafreedomnetwork.com. Next Sunday is another date. Until then, keep the spirit, keep the faith, keep up the good fight for justice and independence for Ambazonia. Stay Amba strong.